great photos are going to be a great way to make... So finally, I know, Dougal, I'm rubbish at this, aren't I? Yes, I know. I'll get the hang of it one day. Hello! Now, you don't need me to tell you that a camper van or a motorhome can be quite an expensive asset. And in many cases, those assets spend the majority of their lives not doing anything, just quietly depreciating. Now, over the past few years, there's organisations like Airbnb that have emerged to allow people with property to rent out that property when they're not using it in order to make the best use of it and to make a bit of money. So wouldn't it be great to apply that same principle to camper vans and motorhomes? Well, the great news is you can, and renting out your motorhome is a great way to make some money on it. Of course, this brings up a lot of concerns and some issues. Of course, the main concern being, if you're renting out your leisure vehicle, what if it gets damaged? If you are doing the renting, if you're renting it out, how can you be sure that that vehicle is safe, that it's safe as regards to gas, electricity, payload? And then finally, what about the impact of people renting out these vehicles on the established motorhoming community? There have been stories where people accidentally or deliberately renting a motorhome have damaged the reputation of the motorhoming community. What's being done about that? What I've done is I've had a chat with Jake Stone, who is UK manager for the peer-to-peer platform Goboony, and I've put all these issues to him to answer. So we're going to have a chat with Jake, and then when we come back, I'll have a chat with you and tell you if you're thinking of buying a motorhome or a camper van and you think that renting it out through an operation like Goboony is a great idea, so to help you afford it, what kind of vehicle should you be looking for to buy? So first of all, let's go and have a chat with Jake, who is the UK operations manager for Goboony. So hello Jake, thanks for joining us. Could you just tell us a little bit, who is Goboony? Have you been around for a while and what do you do with Goboony?
Yeah, hi Andrew. So Goboony is a platform that brings motorhome owners together with motorhome enthusiasts in a way that's both secure and easy to use. So it's the peer-to-peer hire of motorhomes. We were founded in 2015 and officially launched in the UK in 2017. We currently have around 1,000 motorhomes actively hiring out in the UK. I am the country manager for Goboony UK. I've filled a variety of roles in the last 4.5 years, helping Goboony launch and grow in the UK.
Now, I'm sure there's many motorhomers here who are quite interested in maybe making a bit of money from the motorhome, but they're worried about their pride and joy. They're worried about someone breaking something. Motorhomes can be quite fragile. What reassurances and insurances do you have in place, and what do people need to do themselves?
It's a good question and a very valid point. As is often the case, the more you know about something, the less scary it becomes.
Yeah.
It's natural for people to be anxious when they first encounter the idea of hiring out their motorhome, mainly because they don't know how far the peer-to-peer rental market has progressed and how safe it is nowadays. Mm-hmm. The classic example is Airbnb. If someone had suggested that 15 years ago, most people would have probably scoffed at the idea of renting out their homes. You mentioned insurance. Mm-hmm. There are several purpose-built policies specifically made to cover hiring out motorhomes. One of these is, of course, the self-drive hire insurance, which has really helped the peer-to-peer motorhome market blossom. Mm-hmm. It covers the owner for hiring out their vehicle to any driver that meets the requirements. The typical stuff like no more than 6 points on their license, between a certain age range, and certain, caveats within that, like where the vehicle is taken and what it's used for. There's Yeah, we also provide all the contract and paperwork for each booking, which makes it really easy to determine the precise condition of the vehicle before and after the booking. And that just means that, everyone starts the hire and ends the hire fully, understanding their obligations. And it's really easy to establish liability if anything does, happen to go wrong.
So if someone's already got a motorhome insurance now and it's for social domestic pleasure only, obviously, does that mean that policy is then going to become null and void because they're now going to be using the motorhome for business use? So does that mean they've now got to null that policy and take out a new policy, including business use, because you're making money from your motorhome? I class that as business use.
So that would depend on the policy they currently use and the policy they decide on taking for hiring out. Now, the annual self-drive hire policy would replace their personal one, as it covers their personal use as well.
Right. So
now, a lot of motorhome owners they have a personal policy that can actually be upgraded to covering self-drive hire.
Yeah.
So it would be more an adaptation if they are with certain companies. Now, for people who want to keep their existing policy, providing that their policy doesn't directly prohibit it, they can just have what's called a pay-as-you-go option, and that would mean that they keep their own policy, and actually the person who hires the vehicle from them would have to take out the policy in their own name through Goboony. So actually, it doesn't, then conflict with the owner of the vehicle's own personal policy.
Okay, fine. And where can people find out more about this? Is this on your website?
Yes, there is a whole section on our available insurances, and there is actually going to be more coming to that in May, as we're releasing a new policy, a new product through our site.
Excellent. Because the other thing that worries me too is if someone does have an unthinkable accident, or they've created a lot of damage to the motorhome and it's waiting for parts, and the owner can neither use it nor rent it out, is there any cover, do you know, in those policies for loss of use? So
there are options, especially with the annual policies, and if there are also certain policies that people do sometimes take out as a business. Tends not to be the private owners themselves, but people who do actually hire out as a business can take out certain insurances, to help cover, any lost revenue or downtime where the vehicle is unusable.
So I think the main takeaway here is, people need to be aware that there is an insurance liability to be considered before they jump in with both feet, and you've got all the information you've got on your website that people can go into this further and consider it further. So that's really good.
Yeah, it's very important, people understand the way the insurance works. Of course, we wouldn't allow anyone to hire out on the platform without a proper, fully suitable insurance for doing so. But there's a lot more information out there now than there used to, and we can also, of course, provide a lot of assistance with that. And provide insurance ourselves as well.
And brilliant. Just before we leave the part of the video for the motorhome owners, obviously, I'm guessing a motorhome owner can choose whether or not that they would allow pets in their motorhome and other such. If they would only allow adults only, not children, are they allowed to do that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a pretty part of the core of what we do here is really affording motorhome owners, autonomy and control over the way that they hire out.
Yeah.
We don't think it would really work if they didn't have that. So we do have on any listing, so on any motorhome, there are house rules. There's a series of house rules which are, some of them are a yes or no, and then beyond that, people can actually just write whatever they want. As long as it's not
reasonably,
it doesn't break terms and conditions, can write any rules that they need, to have in place to comfortably hire out their vehicles. So, that's a big part of how people operate on the site. The other thing is, every booking that comes through to you as an owner, is vetted by you. If someone comes, to you and they are obliged to provide the accurate information about what their holiday plans are, you can then, as an owner, if it doesn't sit right with you, if you're not happy with what they are proposing, you can simply decline the booking. Okay. You're under no obligation to accept the booking that doesn't fit, what you're comfortable with.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to people who are watching this who are thinking about actually renting a motorhome through Goboony. Now, yeah. I, for one, have a bit of a campaign on about payloads, weights, and especially in the case of a self-build, sometimes these self-built motorhomes are overweight. What measures do you have in place that's going to reinsure people who are renting someone's motorhome that it's safe, that the gas is safe, that there's no carbon monoxide risk, or that the weights and the payload are safe? How do you vet each vehicle? How do you do that?
So that's a good question, and we see a lot of people converting vans at the moment. So it's an increasing concern, I think, in the world of in the motorhome world. To qualify for the required insurances, any self-build would have to have first of all successfully re-registered the vehicle's V5 as a motor caravan. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there are some additional caveats to that. Added in recent years. This in itself excludes any extreme, let's say, cowboy builds from hiring out on our site in the first place. Yeah. For everyone as a standard, but this is no exception for anyone who has a self-build, self-conversion. We require all owners to get an AWS approved workshop to do a gas safety inspection and check, mm-hmm. and to get one done routinely in order to make sure everything is safe, mm-hmm. in terms of the appliances that use gas. Same goes for electricity. When it comes to conversion vehicles, they really have to specify their curb weight and their GVW when they are onboarded to our platform. Yeah. And of course, they need to specify this to the people booking with them to ensure they don't end up, being above the payload limit whilst they're on hire.
So they have to specify it. Do you actually catch sight of the inspections from the workshops or the V5s or whatever with the weights on them, or is this done on a trust basis?
It is currently on a trust basis. Okay. We are working on arrangements with the AWS themselves to basically, make it a more rigorous and formalized setup.
So I think really it would be down to the renter to actually ask to have sight of those.
Yeah.
That proof, yeah.
And upon they would be obliged to they would be required to provide us with them. If should we ask them. Yeah. It's more that they we do it on a trust basis, but if we had any concerns, any doubts, then mm-hmm. we would absolutely verify that.
Okay, and if any renter had any doubt, they can always ask to see sight of those certificates before they
Precisely.
go ahead. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything has to be provided upon request.
So you've got a lot of measures in place to protect both the renter and the motorhomer, but obviously disputes may still occur. Do you have, like on eBay where you can, give people feedback, 5 stars? Do you have any rating systems or anything like that, or is that something in the future?
No, so we've been using Trustpilot for a few years now. Yeah. We also have reviews on Google My Business, and we have a lot of reviews internally. Mm-hmm. You can go on our site, for example, and if you go on a given vehicle, people who've used that vehicle often leave reviews. Mm-hmm. So we invite everyone who uses the site, in any capacity, so be it hiring a vehicle or hiring out their vehicle, to both leave a review on Trustpilot and to review the person that they, did the booking with.
Okay, brilliant. Because I'm glad you mentioned Trustpilot, because I'm sure that people who have been unhappy have taken to social media, but that's not going to give them a full picture of all the happy people, because most people who are happy don't generally leave feedback. It's only the ones who've got a problem. Yeah. So you're saying Trustpilot is who you use for honest reviews?
My advice would be to read the reviews of people who actively use a site like ours.
Yeah.
Instead of, as you put, people who've taken to social media, we have a community now of around 1,000 owners in the UK. Many of them have left a review on Trustpilot.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing about Trustpilot, for a potential customer is we have no control over who leaves a review. And everyone who hires out, who uses us is automatically invited to review us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important, in the world of online business, to ensure that people, are accountable, and companies, like us are accountable for our service.
If, for example, there was some kind of a dispute, does Goboony offer any kind of resolution service, or is it really down to the two parties to sort themselves out?
Yes, we have a very dedicated support team for this, and they really do go above and beyond for both parties. We are also impartial here. Naturally, we will mediate in any situation where there is a disagreement on a booking, and people are not able to resolve things amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Now, we, in the end, will determine the outcome of a dispute based on the evidence we have.
Yeah.
So, our handover process basically, when done, when sort of done properly, our handover process pretty much mitigates any situation where there could be a disagreement that is unresolvable.
Now, finally, there are a lot of established motorhomers who will be watching this, who may be not thinking about making money from their motorhome, but I was a bit disappointed to see on your website a blog entry that's promoting wild camping. Now, I know that's a very Instagrammable, attractive option, but the reality is these days there are so many people joining the world of motorhomes that wild camping, especially like in areas where I live in rural Scotland, is actually discouraged because of the environmental damage of the sheer number of vans. And also there are people who are fantastic. They're renting motorhomes because they're thinking of getting one, but they don't quite know the protocol. They don't know properly how to drive it. They might end up really cheesing off everyone behind them on a single track road. Rental motorhomes can have a poor reputation where people deliberately or accidentally just don't understand how to use it or how to drive it. So, what measures, do you have any measures in place to protect the wider community? Your corporate responsibility. Do you sponsor educational campaigns? Like there's one going on in the Outer Hebrides right now about responsible camping. So, or are you even considering creating a campaign of your own to educate the renters in the world of motorhomes, and therefore try and join together the owners and the renters into more of a happy band?
This is going to become even more important to us as we continue to grow. Mm-hmm. In terms of our, community, many of our motorhome owners don't allow their vehicles to be taken on wild camping trips at all.
Mm-hmm.
Partly for the vehicle's sake, and also partly because they have concerns, such as you've raised. It is really important for us to increase the awareness of the impact on a local environment when people wild camp. This last year, the sort of explosion of staycations has led to some problems, with local infrastructure sort of bearing the strain, let's say, of holidaymakers, especially in rural areas. Mm-hmm. We do have a large emphasis on how to wild camp respectfully in our content about wild camping. I think the first, let's say third of the whole article really mentions how to do it properly. Mm-hmm. This year, what we're particularly excited about is being able to work with people such as yourself to help spread the word on best practices and to bring more awareness to these kind of things, to get people up to speed with people who've perhaps been doing it a lot longer and have a lot more of an idea of how to wild camp with minimal impact. We are exploring the option of starting our own campaign, for example, incentivizing people not only to leave no trace, but to actively pick up any litter they encounter whilst wild camping. Leaving the place better than they found it is will help alleviate some of the strains that wild camping puts on local environments. Sort of, if you look at, you know, where we are in the sort of motorhome world, there are, well, around about 500,000 motorhomes in the UK. It needs to be a really big effort with a lot of collaboration between a lot of different, you know, parts of the industry and parts of the camping world to really make sure that this thing is done properly and on a large scale.
Yeah.
And we, you know, of course, we really ready to take on the challenge of being a part of that.
Excellent, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Jake. That's answered all my questions for everybody. I think we covered all the bases. So obviously, I'll feed you a really easy question now to finish with. Where do people find out more information about anything that you've just talked about?
Well, thanks, Andrew. So we run webinars most weeks, and that's a nice way to introduce people to the site and how it works.
Yeah.
We also have an ebook, which is essentially a guide to hiring out. You know, it's just a guide that goes through the details of how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, something that's really important to us, vital to us, is everyone knows how we work and what to expect, so that they can come on and fully enjoy their experience and benefit from it. We're not here to hard sell to anyone, because in the end, this is something that people need to be educated in, and then they'll do it properly. We also have a price calculator, because a lot of people have the question of how much can my specific vehicle, you know, be earning. So we basically have a calculator that will show you, you know, you can input the details of your motorhome or camper van and see what similar ones currently active on Goboony would earn.
Okay, well, lovely. Well, thanks very much for that, Jake. I'll obviously link to Goboony in the description below, where people can get hold of all these resources. So lovely. Thanks very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. It's been a pleasure.
So finally, if you are considering buying a camper van or a motorhome and you think that renting it out through a peer-to-peer platform such as Goboony would be a good idea to help you meet the payments and to afford it, maybe get a better one than you thought, sorry, we're boring you, Dougal, then what sort of vehicle should you be looking for? Well, very simple, clear answer to that one is that you want to be looking for something very simple. So maybe entry level, but good quality. You don't want anything too complicated, anything too fancy, anything too fiddly. So for example, with the heating system, you're looking for something like a Truma or a Whale system with a very simple control panel. You're looking for simple controls for the water tanks and things like this. You don't want anything too fancy, anything too flash, and an instruction manual that's going to be 100 pages long. So basically, if you are thinking of buying a motorhome or a camper van with the intention of renting it out, then the simpler the better. But really, there is room for everything in the market. So whatever you prefer, obviously it's still going to be worthwhile considering going through a peer-to-peer platform such as Goboony. So finally, if you do want any more information about anything we've covered in this video, of course, please check out the website of Goboony. I will leave a link in the description below. And the great news is that they're running a promotion at the moment. And if you do sign up with your motorhome or camper van to rent it out before the 15th of July 2021, then you will get a free photo shoot if you use the code ANDREWDITTON. So that's really good news. So for viewers of this video, if you do sign up before the 15th of July using that code in the description below, the code ANDREWDITTON, you will get a free photo shoot. And of course, great photos on the entry of your motorhome will obviously hopefully lead to more people wanting to rent it out. Finally, it just leaves me to say a huge thank you to Goboony, who have sponsored this video, but I think you can probably tell, folks, that by the awkwardness of the questions I've asked have not influenced those questions or anything like that, because as you know, I'm on your side. I've tried to think of everything that you would want to know and any concern that you would have, because there'd be concerns that I would have about renting out your motorhome. So huge thanks to Goboony for sponsoring this video. As you know, on this channel, that doesn't really make a difference to the content. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you enjoyed this and you found it useful, please give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel if you don't already. And it just leaves me to say, from Dougal and from me, thanks for churning in. There. What do you reckon, Dougal? Do you think that was a good idea? Do you think that's a nice idea? Did you enjoy that video? Did you? But that answers that one, doesn't it?
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba.